Okay, this is part 3 of War Photographer. I'm going to focus on stanza 2 and 3 together here because the juxtaposition of Ascot versus the small girl in the war zone is quite important. And I think that because they're of similar length and they're one after the other, that this is the key comparison for the poet here. So if we start with line 9 and we're drew straight to this fancy event, Ascot. And the images that Ascot, she wants us to pull out are the fancy dresses and the expensive hats and the drinking and the you know, ladies' day and the racing, and how it is very much about money, wealth, this luxury really is quite important, and I think she wants to draw it out, and the best way for her to do that was through that single word Ascot. And she pulls through with that, through the alliteration, this list and this description of these girls who, a pair of peach, sun-gilded girls. And I think peach is quite important. You know, it's happy, it's sweet, it's nice, it's light, it's healthy. Okay, this is a real positive image being created. Sun-gilded, you know, they're happy, warm, and girls. I think this word's quite important because this is repeated a bit further down here in stanza 3. They're young. We expect and want young girls to be happy, carefree, okay? And we associate this image with positivity, but with also luxury. And I think the G for gilded, girls, grass and giggles, as picked up by one of my students today, as alliteration, does really reflect this easy life that they have, because it flows, you know, and it's very soft, happy, youthful, innocent, and I think it does represent. She was spot on, I think, when she said that this definitely represents that idea that these girls have an easy life, and the poet wants to be able to show that and show that really clearly. I think it's further emphasised here with the rolling, the L's, silk, crumpled. You know, we've got luxury materials. Again, all these images that, you know, grass, healthiness, nature, champagne, money, wealth, all of the images being created in there is reflective of that luxury and that leisure. So we could definitely group these. There's definitely that semantic field of luxury there, and you could definitely pick out quite a few words within that and tie them together to that same theme. However, what we do get, and we can see that the sentence is not ended here, there's no full stop, and that's on purpose. So we get this gap, and then this enjambment here. So enjambment is when the sentence isn't finished, it's continued on to the next line. So the sentence continues, and I think that's to show the connection that the poet, or the photographer should I say, has gone from this luxury, this event, straight into, in the same world, in the same breath, perhaps even in the same day. We see this contrast, this opposite of how one girl can be treated and live such a perfect life, and another girl can have such a horrendous life. And that juxtaposition there is really central to the poem here, I think. And she does draw our attention to the girl, emphasised with the adjectives used in here. So have a look at these adjectives, and the sibilance really pulls it out a little bit further. Small girl, again, so here, not just girl, she's on her own, she's isolated. That's different from the S up here. So she's alone is the first thing within that noun. However, look at this word small. She's young, she's innocent. I already feel sorry for her. I'm already in a state of sympathy for this child, and I don't even know what's happened yet. And then I'm given this verb, staggering. So picturing a young girl staggering. If we were to link it up here, we might say, oh, maybe she's drunk. Maybe it's, you know, what else would you stagger for? But you also stagger when you're in pain. And her might show her life is very different. So putting it in context with the rest of this stanza, we can see why she's staggering. And the sibilance links it. So we've got a small girl staggering down a devastated street. And the sibilance there is in contrast to the alliteration of the G's earlier, and really does emphasise the pain, the destruction that this girl has to live through. And every time an S is here, it links to the same idea, the same sibilance. Our focus is drawn to these words. So look at the adjective here: devastated, ruined, destroyed. And it's not specific, and I think that definitely tells us that it's on lots of streets. She could have picked any street and there would still be a girl staggering, struggling, and the street would still be devastated. And to make matters worse, not only is she isolated and alone, we are then told that she now has to act like a mother, a grown-up, hip thrust out under a baby's weight. So if I didn't feel sympathy for her before, I definitely feel it now with this new piece of information. And the focus, I think, is on weight. In comparison to the small girl there, the idea that she's literally weighed down, but also I think it's a bit of a play on words, because she's weighed down maybe by her life, by the difficulty and the war zone that she's in. Life is heavy. It's not light like the peach and the silk. They're all very light textures, items. For this girl, it's not. Again, we've got this opposite, light versus heavy. No, alliteration versus sibilance. More than one girl, single girl. And then we look at the sibilance here. So this is what the war photographer is actually taking a picture of. She saw me seeing her. And there's a lot of focus on there of sight, what you see. So they've noticed each other. There's a recognition there that the photography is not invisible. And I question why this is here. And I think it's an interesting one when you start looking at the structure. She saw me seeing her. And then we get this pause. She's connected these sentences. A semicolon connects these two sentences on purpose. My finger pressed. So it's the reaction in seeing her. And I think we're tempted, I think, as an audience to judge. There's a decision being made there, isn't there? Do I go over and help her? Or do I do my job, take a picture, and make sure that that gets through across the world so this girl gets help and other girls like her? And I think that semicolon there represents that choice or a decision of why the war photographer is there. And maybe it's a difficult decision with the pause, but obviously not quick enough. Not slow enough, because the full stop would be a more secure pause, wouldn't it? Okay, have a pause of the video here. Next one we will have a look at the last two stanzas.